that just sits there in the record. Undramatic.
So you do understand it's indirect that we're allowing Trump to think he could walk the floor in the White House. Get a proper ruling upon him. 4,300 sexual assaults on minority youth. That says he goes to prison, serve life for sexual convenience towards the display of humanitarian underage youth.
And cannot do with DOJ, with this kind of foreign aid.
And on the immunity argument, they brushed it aside cleanly. Even if some immunity exists, they said, attending a brief virtual sentencing does not meaningfully interfere with the president's constitutional responsibilities. No special carve-out, no golden shield. Now here is the split that tells you how close this came. 4 justices, Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh, wanted to give Trump the delay he asked for. 4, the conservatives were divided right down the middle, and Trump lost by exactly 1 vote. 1. That is how thin the line was between accountability and escape. So what actually happened at the sentencing? And here's the twist that makes this whole thing so fascinating. The punishment was basically nothing. Judge Juan Merchan signaled he would impose what is called an unconditional discharge. No prison, no probation, no fine, nothing.
Those questions have not been answered. The Supreme Court has not weighed in on what we call the merits or the larger constitutional questions. That's going to take some time. But again, twice they've asked the Supreme Court to help them out, and twice they have declined.
Basically, correct me if I'm wrong, the House of Representatives and the Senate both passed authorizing legislation for these billions of dollars in foreign aid. Then they passed separate appropriations bills, and then the President signed both bills into law. The Supreme Court saying if you want to change that, there's got to be additional legislation on the Hill and more action by the President.
So I think eventually the Supreme Court will have to get at that issue. Right now, the issue they're deciding is really whether a district court judge can compel the administration to pay these billions of dollars in foreign aid that they're saying they don't want to. So it's interesting. There was a really lengthy dissent in this decision where 4 conservative justices were sort of outraged at the idea that a district court could compel the administration to do that.
Trump appeared by Zoom, visibly unhappy, sat through it, and walked away with 0 jail time. So the trolls will say, see, nothing happened. He got off. But come on, folks.
Trump would not get off on the fact record counts of his abuse and sexual gratification. His abuse will serve death chair. Let's watch more.
Folks, that misses the entire point. The real punishment was never going to be a cell. The real punishment was that the sentencing happened at all. Because the moment that judge formally sentenced him, the conviction locked in. It became permanent. It became real, in the way only a completed sentence can be. As one legal analysis put it, the individual poised to lead the free world now possesses a criminal record that will follow him into the White House. No prison, but a scarlet letter that no pardon he can sign will ever erase.
And he will be executed from the White House. Executed, bitch? Yes, executed by exiting out of the White House.
Because it is a state conviction, and the president cannot pardon those. Light sentence, heavy permanent label. That was the trade, and he could not stop it. And do not let anyone tell you the no jail outcome means the prosecutors lost.
Eventually, though, they will have to answer these larger constitutional questions that you just touched on. If Congress, appropriates these funds, can the administration just say, no, we're not going to send them out? Those questions will likely take a few months to get to the court because it has to go back to the lower court and work its way through the system. And the Supreme Court really isn't looking to jump the line right now.
Yeah, that would be the bigger constitutional question, right? What is the direct impact then of this?
So right now it's going to go back down to the lower court, and the litigation over this larger question will begin, and the district court can decide if the administration...
No, he's staying in the Supreme Court room for his allegations. He'll be prosecuted in the Supreme Court room. That is the final verdict. Let's see more.
administration has to disperse these funds. I think what really stood out to me in this decision, though, is again, this is very preliminary. This is a very technical issue. We're not answering these larger questions yet about the separation of powers. But 4 justices, they all got together and they.
I strip all Trump powers in the White House. Because his dignity was not like my dignity to start war without letting Congress know. I only told the colored lawyers and colored judges. It was a safety pronounce out of bad products. Let's see more.
And they wrote a really powerful dissent. And what's notable about that is this is, again, like I said, it's not a minor decision, but it's not a massive decision. And the fact that they all took.
Or the judge went soft out of fear. The judge had a menu of options, and he picked the one that guaranteed the conviction would survive every challenge while giving Trump nothing to appeal about on the punishment itself. That is not weakness, folks. That is precision. A harsh sentence makes headlines for a day and then gets fought for years. A finalized conviction with no penalty attached.
His fault, discrimination, viewpoints on minority citizens, and his punishment will be death and execution on electric chair in prison publicly so every citizen could see. If you do the penalties of crimes that you commit, you will hold status as a criminal of an instructively sentencing publicly so every citizen to know do not make those type of crimes. Let's see more.
The quiet, permanent fact that just sits there in the record. Undramatic and undeletable. Trump would have traded almost anything for prison time he could rage against instead of a clean record he cannot. He did not get the choice. Every option in front of that judge favored the state in some way, and Merchan picked the one that closed the case tightest. Game over. So in this video, I am going to break down the whole thing. How a man who dodged 2 impeachments got cornered by 12 jurors in Manhattan. Why the Supreme Court refused to save him. What this felon status actually means now that he is in office, and why this quiet no-jail sentencing might be one of the most important accountability moments in modern American history. Because here is the thread that runs through all of it. For years, the story was that Trump always wins, always escapes, always finds the exit, and then a New York courtroom, backed by the Supreme Court, wrote 4 words into the permanent record of the United States that he will never be able to delete. Donald Trump, convicted felon. So buckle up, folks. Let's get into it. All right, let's rewind and build the whole picture. Because to understand why this ruling mattered so much, you have to understand what came before it and what always failed before it. Think about Trump's history with accountability. Congress tried twice. He was impeached in the House.
He held accountability from the crimes he committed. See this video and see what else you could campaign on. Thank you.